So we realized that this is our first YouTube video that we made. So we realized about right at the end that we were filming, what do you call it, portrait instead of landscape. So that's really bad YouTubing. I ordered a GoPro and it was supposed to come in, but it won't come in until tomorrow apparently. So our first video is going to be really bad quality, up and down, cell phone style. So excuse that. Good morning from the Try to Swim HQ here at Bloomington High School South. This is our first Try to Swim video. This set is something that I do pretty much every week, or at least a version of it every week. And the idea is to mimic kind of like a chaotic swim start where you don't really get to breathe as you would like, whether it's from splashes or waves or contact or elbows or whatever it may be. You don't always get a full breath at the start of a race when there's, a really packed field. So the idea here is to get yourself in a hypoxic state, meaning you don't get to breathe every 3 strokes or every 5 strokes or whatever you normally do at the start of a race, where you control the amount of breaths that you get. In this case, for me, it'll be 0 at the beginning, and then go into fast swimming, and then go into strong pull swimming, just to kind of mimic that crazy start with no air, and then fast swimming after that, and then strong pull swimming. Just to keep that heart rate up and mimic that beginning of the race with potentially no breathing. So 100 is done as a 25 all out with no breath. So that is going to be just full gas, completely all out for a 25. Then we've got a 75 moderate with 2 breaths for 25. So that 75 is kind of, the heart rate will come down on that, but because I only get 2 breaths per 25 there, it still is going to be really hard on the lungs. I'll be wanting to take more breaths than that, especially after that 100 or that 25 all out with no breath. So even though it is moderate effort for the last 75 of that 100, it's still going to be really tricky from a hypoxic perspective. After that, 20 seconds rest, not all that much, into a 100 at mile race pace. I'm gonna try and be going 55 seconds here. We'll see how that goes. After that, heart rate will be through the roof, 20 seconds rest. Again, not all that much, just enough to kind of reset mentally a little bit, and then get, heart rate down 3 or 4 BPM. That's probably about all that'll happen, into a 300 pull strong. And that's just, again, to kind of go from this hypoxic 100 into a 100 at race pace. It's a pretty fast clip. And then that 300 pull strong is just to really get into kind of the race flow.
Scott, what's the hardest part about this set?
The hardest part about this set is definitely going to be the middle 100. That is, I'm going to be trying to hit 55 seconds. We'll see if that happens. It's going to be pretty hard after that hypoxic 100 at the beginning. So we will see if that happens. I think I can do it. I've done this set, at least a pretty similar set before, and 57s were pretty manageable. So I think I can do it, but I might miss that 55 target on a couple of different rounds.
Scott.
Uh-huh.
Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Do you swim meters or yards?
Man, that is a tough question. Are all dogs the same size? Gotta start the watch. If you don't start the watch, you don't do any swims. Here we go. don't forget to blow bubbles.
So how'd the warm up go?
Oh, it went just dandy. I'm a little cold. I don't know about the temperature here.
Yeah.
It's different than I want it to be, but that's okay.
Steph.
How are those bubbles?
This is kind of hard. I need to do more hypoxic sets.
Yeah, so I've done round one. The first 100, it seems to, it feels easier than it is, I think, because like you get 6 breaths total for that first 100. It doesn't feel that hard while you're doing it, but then when you finish and you've got that 20 seconds rest, that's when it's like, oh wow, that was pretty hard. I ended up going probably a little bit too fast on that. I was like 100 with no breath, 2 breaths, 2 breaths, 2 breaths. And then I had the 20 seconds rest, and then the 100 that's supposed to be about mile effort. Going 55, that is way more than mile effort. I ended up being like 57. But I think this set does exactly what it's supposed to do, where it mimics that like panic at the beginning of a race, where you know you're not getting as much air as you want, and then kind of when you settle into your pace, you know, the beginning of a race doesn't always go the way you think it's going to go, so it kind of causes you to adapt, deal with that panic a little bit. But I'm going to see if I can get down to 55 on these later rounds, even though it's probably a higher effort than mile effort. We'll see if I can make it work. Definitely faster than mile effort though.
Getting ready to pull.
Gotta get the band on.
Gearing up.
300 pull, moderate effort.
Wow. That guy is just covered in water.
But yeah.
The thick
It's
water.
It's kind of a hard set.
Yeah, that's good, man.
One more round to go. Another 56. 55. It's really hard.
You were pretty down there, though.
After that hypoxic 100, oh crap.
Yeah, don't forget about the rest of the set, man.
Forgot about that.
This
Goodbye.
guy has no oxygen in his blood. A lot of extra CO2, though.
I didn't know. My thoughts on the set, it pretty much went exactly how I thought it would go. Hitting that 55 target was harder than I expected, but I think that set does a really good job at kind of mimicking the chaos that happens at the beginning of a race, mimicking that like feeling of wanting to breathe, but you don't always get the amount of breaths that you want. It was pretty challenging, but like I said, because it was our first video, I wanted to do something that, you know, I had written that I was a little bit more familiar with. I've done versions of this set before, but yeah, pretty tired. Gotta eat some breakfast, rest up. I have a ride this afternoon.